Hey Canucks fans, the Canucks are going to have to make decisions on no fewer than 11 players in the next month. Let's start talking about them. I'm Clay Emo, I'm at Canuck Clay on Twitter, I'm at Clay Emo on Instagram. I'm the founder of the GLCPC, the Good Looking Canucks Positivity Club. This is my Canucks take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Labor Day Monday, September the 7th. This is where you get Canucks insight that's positive and timely. I'm joined by a very inanimate Bo Horvat as we look at the UFAs and RFAs that the Canucks have on their roster. But really quickly, quick programming note, I was about ready to get back to my regular weekly Sunday live streams on YouTube, but I had to bump last night's because of a project I was involved in. I'll talk about that more on the live stream tonight. So join me tonight right here on YouTube at 10 p.m. for the return of my weekly live streams, because unfortunately there's no Canucks post-game live streams to do anymore. It's going to be a very busy month. I know obviously we wish that the Canucks were still playing, especially when you see that Vegas couldn't even score on Dallas yesterday, but there's other things that we can talk about. There's going to be awards being awarded, there's going to be free agency, and of course the draft coming up. So there are a lot coming up. We have a lot of time to talk about these things, but today I want to talk about the free agents that the Canucks have on their roster. No fewer than 11 players, which is crazy. When you think of an active roster of 18 and not all these guys play all the time, but that's basically half your roster that you got to make decisions on, which is nuts, which is unprecedented. I think it's going to be the craziest, most important summer of, it sounds like an overstatement, or hyperbole, but maybe of the Vancouver Canucks history, because you got to think of Pettersson and Hughes getting new contracts at the end of next season. And I think that really you got to think of the expansion draft. So there's all these things that you might not think of right away, but they're going to shape a lot of the decisions. So let's talk about each guy really quickly. I don't want to spend 2 minutes on all 11 guys, then I'll take a 22-minute video or whatever, but I'll at least a quick word about each of these 11 players. So we have 6 UFAs. We have the big three of Jacob Markstrom, Chris Tanev, Tyler Toffoli, and then we still have Josh Leivo, we still have Oscar Fantenberg, and backup Louis Domingue. Louis Domingue is the easiest. I think that's a domino effect depending on what happens with Markstrom, with his new contract, Demko, and I'm not sure if they think Domingue is going to be the answer, whether he's a number 2 or number 3. He was brought in as emergency, injury relief when Markstrom got hurt in February. So I think Louis Domingue, wouldn't be surprised if we do not re-sign him. So especially when you have other guys waiting in the wings. Same with Oscar Fantenberg. He played admirably well, reasonably well in the playoffs. But as a third pairing D-man on the left side, I think they have that earmark for Olli Juolevi, at least giving him every shot to do it. Remember, Ben can play on the left side. He played on the left side more than the right side this season. So between, of course, Hughes and Edler, then that third spot, I don't think you need to give it to Fantenberg. I think a guy like Juolevi can come in. Although Fantenberg only made $850,000, so it's not like there's any cost difference there, because Juolevi's entry level will be around $900,000 anyway. So that's about a wash, but maybe you want to give it to a younger guy for sure. Then let's go to Josh Leivo, who unfortunately got hurt in December. And by the time he plays again, it might be a full year between hockey for him. Obviously hurt his bargaining power, but he's still, I think, an important part of this piece. So I expect the Canucks to sign Josh Leivo, for maybe even it's a 1 or 2 year contract at similar number. Right now, I think this year he was making, I'm just looking up real quick, 1.5. Does that sound right? Yeah, he was making 1.5 this year, and he ended up the year on LTIR, so the Canucks will have to find the money to pay him. And then, of course, we have our big three of Markstrom, Toffoli, and Tanev. And I'm going to refer a couple times to Rick Dhaliwal. Rick Dhaliwal, TSN 1040, friend of this vlog. I had him on a Zoom chat about a month ago, and he's so good, right? He's among the first. He's very connected, and but he's pretty humble, pretty funny guy, but he's very connected, and people know that in this market. He was one of the first to break the fact that Tyler Toffoli is going to come back in Game 2, that Tyler Myers is going to come back in Game 4, and that Jacob Markstrom was likely going to be out starting Game 5. So he was among the first, if not the first, to break a lot of these stories. So we definitely trust his opinion. Jacob Markstrom. This is interesting because the Canucks, Rick Dhaliwal has mentioned on the radio that the Canucks have had 14 months, really, over a year to do this contract. He doesn't think that they're close. Does the Thatcher Demko performance change all of our thinking? I've always said that you can afford to play a bit of hardball with Markstrom. Is he going to want a no movement clause given the expansion draft? There are so many things. He's getting older. He's more injury prone. Yet you can't deny that he was the MVP of the season for the past 2 years. He's the reason why we got to the postseason. So and a guy like Thomas Drance says he believes that the Canucks are going to make signing Jacob Markstrom the #1 priority. So, oh, by the way, 11 guys to think about, and we only have about $17 to $18 million in cap space. But that's for another vlog about the Russells and the Sutters and the Beagles and the Eriksson and the Berchies of the world. That's for later this week. But for now, remember, we're thinking about that much money to re-sign a lot of these guys, and all these guys will want raises of some sort. So Jacob Markstrom, it's going to be the first domino to fall, but it's going to be a massive one because it's going to basically affect everything, and it's going to show us, indicate which way the Canucks are going to go with their goaltending. My gut feeling right now, I think he does stay, but like I said, I think the Canucks can play a bit of hardball with them. Tyler Toffoli. Rick Dhaliwal says that Toffoli's agent, he talked to Toffoli's agent, and he says this about it. I had it right here. Agent Pat Brisson says this: Tyler was a strong addition to the Canucks at the deadline. He loved the city, the team, and enjoyed his time in Vancouver. I will be open to have discussions with Jim Benning at the appropriate time. So let's not get too caught up in the fact that he was using past tense. Loved the city, the team, enjoyed his time in Vancouver. The fact that he says, I will be open to have discussions with Jim Benning at the appropriate time. Toffoli, I like him a lot. I liked him more in the regular season than I liked him in the playoffs, but he was a warrior in the playoffs. Rick Dhaliwal said his injury, his high ankle sprain, was supposed to take 6 weeks to recover from. He came back in 3.5, and he did well in his first game back, then kind of tailed off as the whole team did. But at least you can't fault his effort. I just worry about overpaying him, and I just worry about the fact that in maybe year 3, 4, 5, as he gets older, that money is going to be too much to sink into a declining player. He's going to be one of the top 5 free agents out there, so that's a tricky thing. Like with Markstrom and Toffoli especially, you have some you're going to be regarded as top 5, top 10 free agents throughout the league. So Toffoli, I like Besser more than I like Toffoli. I like what Toffoli can bring, but this is different than what I was saying in March, but I would not be heartbroken nor surprised if the Canucks let Toffoli walk. Chris Tanev, according to Rick Dhaliwal, Chris Tanev's agent, Wade Arnott, says this: Chris has always stated that his desire is to re-sign in Vancouver, and that has not changed. We will see how the Canucks wish to proceed. This one's interesting because he obviously helped with Quinn Hughes' development. You could also say that Quinn Hughes helped Chris Tanev look better this season. So I think there's a chicken and egg, or at least a part of column A and part of column B. With Tanev and Stecher, who I'll get to in a couple of minutes, on the right side, that's 2 of your top 3 right side D-man up for new contracts. The Chris Tanev one's interesting. Where I think Markstrom will get done, I think Toffoli won't get done. I think Tanev's kind of in the middle, but I think the Canucks will likely want to sign him, and I think that he wants to be here. So that's an interesting one to keep an eye on. So there we go. Those are the 6 UFAs. That means they could walk on not what used to be July 1st, it'll be now like October 9th or something like that, a week after the Stanley Cup final, the final game. So again, Markstrom, Toffoli, Tanev, Levo, Fantenberg, and Domingue. Those are the UFAs, unrestricted free agents. Now, a quick word about our RFAs, restricted free agents. That means basically, I say basically a lot. In essence, we have the bargaining power from a standpoint of they can't go to another team without us having the chance first to offer them something. So you have to give what's called a qualifying offer, if you want. If you don't want to negotiate a brand new contract, you can do a qualifying offer to basically buy you some time. And there I said basically again, to buy you some time to negotiate a proper contract. And that qualifying offer has to be a certain percentage of last year's contract. And then if you don't offer a qualifying offer, boom, they become a UFA right away. If you offer a qualifying offer, like I said, you have more time to negotiate with them. And then if they don't like your qualifying offer, they can then file for arbitration, which means that a third-party arbitrator will come in and you have to decide. I almost said it again. You are tied to what the arbitrator suggests or recommends unless you can negotiate outside of that. So we can talk about it, but let's talk about the players more. And I think the 2 big ones are, of course, the 2 local guys in Jake Virtanen and Troy Stecher. With Jake Virtanen, he only made $1.25 last year. So that was a steal considering he scored 18 goals in the playoffs. He only had 1 or 2 goals. 18 goals in the regular season. I think he only had 1 or 2 goals in the playoffs, so not the best performance by him in the playoffs. There were even questions whether he get in the lineup. Did that hurt his bargaining power? I'm not sure. I expect Virtanen will want somewhere in the $2.5 to $3 million range. Have the Canucks seen enough from Virtanen where they think he's worth it? Or is that someone where they can lowball or really let go or try and trade? Remember, the Canucks don't have a first-round draft pick. Not that Virtanen's I'm saying he's worth the first round, but the Canucks don't have a first-round draft pick. JT Miller trade gone. They don't have a second-round draft pick this year. Tyler Toffoli trade gone. So Jake Virtanen, what is he worth? Will the Canucks re-sign him? I have a feeling that they could walk away with Virtanen, especially if they see a guy like Zach McEwen being able to do what Virtanen does for cheaper. Troy Stecher, he loves Vancouver. Good Richmond boy like me. And his agent, according to Rick Dollywall, says this: at some point, the Canucks will reach out, and I look forward to those conversations. Troy believes in his team, in this team. It reminds me of the group that he won a national title with at North Dakota. And then Rick Dollywall adds there were casual talks during the season. I have a feeling that Troy Stecher gets done. I think he was really good in the playoffs. Local guy, loves playing here. Really good with the media. It looks like he could emerge to be a locker room leader. So I do think Stecher gets done, and I don't think they give him the Ben Hutton treatment from last year. And with Stecher, he made 2.325 last year. So maybe does he get similar as Virtanen numbers, 2.5 to 3 million? If you let Chris Tanev walk, who made 4.4 last year, then there's some money there, and where maybe you can offer Stecher 3.5. Who knows? But I would love to see Stecher. He's not a top pairing guy, but he could fill in on second pairing if he need to, or he can be a third, a good third pairing option. Of course, you look at next year without signing one, you only have Tyler Myers, then Stecher and Tanev are free agents, UFA and RFA, and then I think they expect Brogan Rafferty to get that third spot. So can Troy Stecher, is he strong enough to play second spot? And does that mean Tyler Myers is our first pairing right shot D-man? We'll see about that. Okay, so that's Troy Stecher, that's Jake Virtanen. Then you have guys like Tyler Mott. That's going to be the interesting one. He was a steal this year at, is it 1.2? Yeah, Tyler Mott was under $1 million. He was $975,000. He was arguably one of our top players in the playoffs. Not even arguably, he was. So he'll want a raise, but how much will he command yet? Still is an RFA, still is a younger player. Can you get him for maybe 1.5 or less on a 1 or 2 year deal? That's where you can, that will be an interesting one. But I think he's proven that he can be an important part of this team. And then Zach McEwen and Adam Gaudette. McEwen, RFA, he only made $850,000 last year. I don't think he's got a lot of bargaining power yet. He's still proving himself, but I think that's a no-brainer. Adam Gaudette, he's one of those 10.2C guys because of the way his when he started and how he started. He has no arbitration rights, and he can't be offer-sheeted by another team. So really, he's got no bargaining power, but the Canucks would do well to set up a good contract with him now, knowing all these guys, knowing that Pettersson and Hughes contracts loom in the future. So all to say, of these 11 guys, I wouldn't be surprised if Toffoli doesn't come back. Tanev's 50-50 to me. I think Fantenberg and Domingue are gone. So those are at least 3 or 4 where you could see not being on the roster next year. That means I do think Markstrom comes back. I do think Mott and Levo and Stecher come back for sure. Gaudette and McEwen. So then Virtanen's the one I'm not sure about as well. So yeah, I want to throw that out there. I guess to recap then, for the guys that I think Fantenberg and Domingue are gone, and I think that Tanev, Toffoli, and Virtanen are maybes. And I do think that the for sure's come back are Markstrom, Stecher, Gaudette, McEwen, Mott, and Levo. All right, Canucks fans, there's a lot there. Talked about 11 guys in about 14 minutes, so I love your comments. You can talk about all 11 of them. You can just talk about the guys you want to. But leave a comment below. Tell me what you think about my predictions, very early predictions, as negotiations start for all these players. But for you, which players do you think the Canucks will keep? Which players do you not think they'll keep? And if you want to throw some numbers and contract terms in there, I'd love to read, react, and reply to those. So now with less Canucks vlogs, I guess I have more time to reply, even though I'm studying again. But I'll know that I do read all your comments, even if I don't acknowledge them all the time. And please join me tonight on YouTube at 10 p.m. for my weekly live stream. Okay, guys, enjoy the long weekend Monday. Subscribe if you like to. Like this video if you like to. Bo and I say thanks for joining me. And take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Stay safe. Stay healthy. God bless. And go Canucks go. Right, Bo?